Hello, marine enthusiasts. Sometimes after a long day of recording, researching, or editing a podcast episode, we like to relax and unwind by watching a captivating oceanic documentary, a dramatic miniseries, or a scintillating scary horror film. That's why the marine enthusiasts have partnered with Hulu to bring you 30 free days of premium entertainment. From their heartwarming selection of romantic films to their mesmerizing documentaries, Hulu truly does have something in store for every kind of watcher. Visit the description of this episode to find a link to claim and start your 30 free days of Hulu. Again, to claim your 30 free days of Hulu, click the link in the description. Now, back to your regularly scheduled programming.
Welcome to the Marine Enthusiast Podcast, a podcast about marine biology and all things ocean. Today's episode is all about octopuses. We're your hosts for today,
Gwenevere
and Skylar. In today's episode, we're going to delve into what exactly an octopus is, the biology of an octopus, the ecology of an octopus, the distribution of an octopus, the economic value of the octopus in human culture, and a few interesting species of octopuses. I got a little challenge for the adults listening. Take a shot every time you hear octopus. Don't actually, you'll probably die. Anyways, before diving into today's episode, I'd like to hand the microphone to Gwenevere for a short segment.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Gwenevere. In addition to being a proud host of the Marine Enthusiast Podcast, I am also the proud founder of the Prasad Foundation, a marine biological nonprofit organization based in the United States. We are extraordinarily proud to be announcing that we recently released a free online microcourse on the subject of ocean acidification. Ocean acidification is a little-known consequence of human carbon emissions and, in short, is responsible for increasing the acidity of the ocean, detrimentally altering its chemistry in the process. This course is an opportunity to learn more about the ocean, some of the threats plaguing it, and how we can mitigate those threats, as well as pave a bluer future for us all. To learn more, or to register, please visit theprasadcatalog.org/courses. Again, that is theprasadcatalog.org/courses. One more segment before delving into today's episode.
Recently, we released a whole new line of manatee-themed merchandise products. This line includes t-shirts, puzzles, stickers, wall art, and more. These products are perfect for any marine enthusiast in your life. See what we did there? And it can be found at I'll just spell it out. linktr.ee/marine enthusiast, our website, and our creator spring. We are offering a 5% discount to new buyers, redeemable at SeaLover5, all capital letters, and the 5 is the number 5, not the word 5. Again, that's linktr.ee/marine enthusiast to buy manatee merchandise today.
So, diving into the episode, Skylar, what exactly is an octopus? Would you like to start us off?
Firstly, basics. An octopus is not just a squid with extra legs. They're cephalopods, which is Greek for head feet. It's pretty accurate when you see one sprinting on its arms. They're known for their 8 arms, large bulbous mantle, or head, and intelligence. Entrancing as they are a kind of marine mollusc, exclusively inhabiting ocean waters. They've been around for 300 million years, and today there are about 300 species.
So they are extraordinarily old, very old.
Older than your mama.
Cephalopods in general, are about 430 million years old, dating back to the Cambrian, and octopi are no exception, although they're very difficult to find in the fossil record due to their lack of bones, which you, need to fossilize.
Just like sharks. So, humans have interacted with octopuses since we have had access to the sea in a variety of different ways, from consuming octopus stew in the Minoan civilization of Crete to Japanese gotaku art. Humans have utilized octopuses as both part of our economy and culture.
Indeed. We have, been fishing octopi since the dawn of time, and humans have primarily caught wild octopuses through spearfishing, underwater fishing devices known as pots, which you wait until an octopus crawls in and then pull out of the water to the unsuspecting octopus. And or even, handheld string and bait for some shallow coastal species. And they are, considered a delicacy in many parts of the world, from Spain to China to Peru. And they're often prized for their subtle but firm taste, often similar to chicken, except a lot chewier. They're very chewy and rubbery. In general, octopi may be thought of to be sort of this expensive delicacy, but they're actually surprisingly inexpensive. Less valued species may yield as little as $4.99 for a whole carcass in the United States, while prized species and specimens may cost upwards of, $25 per pound, which is a fairly expensive octopus, if I do say so myself.
It's really cheap and surprising, and they taste pretty good too.
That is true. Very cheap protein. And their arms are often used in Japanese sushi, Hawaiian poke, and are even fried, as best seen in Japan's takoyaki balls. They're fried in this delicious batter. Skylar absolutely loves them.
I love takoyaki.
Grilled octopus or boiled octopus is also fairly popular, best seen in Spain's pulpo a la gallega, which translates to a Galician-styled octopus from the north of Spain in Galicia.
And I've heard that when they're purchased for pets instead of eating, they can be more expensive, which doesn't make sense, honestly. But octopuses are prized for their intelligence, beauty, and captivating movements among saltwater aquarium enthusiasts, and despite their short lifespans, they can be sold for up to $1,000. They require immense upkeep due to their diets and specific aquarium conditions, and are masterful escape artists known to leave their tanks. However, they are often seen as fulfilling pets to keep. For the record, it is extraordinarily ill-advised to ever keep an octopus, even with experience, and we do not advise that anyone purchase one for the intention of keeping, because that's just cruel, honestly.
Indeed. Also, they require an immense amount of fish. They consume so much fish, and also they can escape and then walk around your house, and then you will say, "Where has my octopus gone?" And he's visiting Cancun. Anyway, so another way that humans have utilized octopi is through art. And this is, in my opinion, best exemplified in the Japanese art of gyotaku. And gyotaku involves taking a fish, coating it in ink, and then pressing it onto a paper in order to log the catch. And that's actually what it originated as amongst Japanese fishermen. It was and still is, to an extent, a popular way to log one's fish catches in a very memorable way. You can display it afterwards and, remind yourself, I caught that octopus on this day. And in my opinion, that would be very motivating for me to go out and fish more. And although traditionally done with fish, it can also be done with octopuses and results in a striking grayscale print. And it is just gorgeous. And it sort of looks like an old school lithograph, if any of our audience is familiar with that. And again, although it originated as a way to log your catch, it's turned into sort of an art form of its own.
Yeah, I would buy those too, but they don't do that in America. It would be really cool if they did gyotaku on great white sharks or something.
That would be extraordinary. I don't even know how you would do that on a shark, to be honest, because it's so large and you'd need, so much paper.
I think they're done with oarfish, unless I'm wrong.
That can be done with oarfish. Interesting. I was not aware of it.
It might be. I might be wrong, though.
That's fair. I would love to see someone attempt to do that with a shark. Even a small shark. Because I don't think you could do that with anything larger than, say, 9 feet. That after that point, it just gets... It's too large. I think there's a lot of logistical problems there.
Yeah, that's my new mission. I'm going to do that when I find a shark. Yeah, anyways, when you're mentioning octopuses, you want to make sure not to call them octopi or octopodes, because they're sensitive and prefer the grammatically correct name. So why exactly do we call them octopuses and not octopi? Well, it's kind of dumb in my opinion, but the word octopus comes from Greek, not Latin. In Greek, plural words usually end in the suffix odes, like episode or electrode, but in Latin, plural words can end in I, like alveoli or cacti. But wait, you might say, you just said Greek borrowed words end in "ode"? Well, you didn't listen because it said they usually do. Because of the word octopus's induction into the English language, the "es" suffix is used. Honestly, I don't care whether it's octopodes or octopuses, but for the sake of educational accuracy, we will call them octopuses for this episode. It's not a bad word, I swear.
Indeed, it's very interesting seeing how words, when they're borrowed over from a separate language, will change their form. It's truly very interesting. Now, as we mentioned earlier, octopi are incredibly intelligent creatures. They have the largest brain-to-body ratio of any invertebrate that we're aware of, in the animal kingdom, which is a very impressive feat. There are a lot of invertebrates. And with this brain, they put it to fantastic use, using it in feats such as, opening jars, escaping mazes, escaping their tanks, and solving cognitive challenges. Some things they do even mimic human behavior in a way. They'll punch fish who steal prey or don't cooperate, punching them into submission, or they'll even exhibit behavior similar to how humans are when they get annoyed or frustrated. They'll pelt debris at other octopuses as a way to assert dominance. Similar to how one might recruit an army of pigeons to attack one's neighbor's house if one is having a quarrel with their neighbor.
Dude, I wish I could pelt debris at people like I could with octopuses.
Unfortunately, you see, that is illegal in the United States.
Oh, man.
So, as many of you know, and as strikingly captured on video, octopuses can change colors similar to cuttlefish through microorgans they possess called chromatophores. And they do this in order to better camouflage into their surroundings, in order to hide from prey, in order to jump out and scare the prey before snatching them into their strong beaks. Or they do it to hide from predators as a mechanism of predator avoidance because, let's be honest, if you're an octopus, you don't want to get eaten.
Exactly.
Now, in addition to this, they will also spray ink to disorient or confuse predators, primarily at things such as seals, larger fish, things of that nature.
Octopuses will always have 8 legs, hence its name octopus. Octo meaning 8, pus meaning foot, and not the other thing they're thinking of. Picture this. A creature with 3 hearts, blue blood, and a brain so decentralized its arms might be smaller than its head. No, it's not a sci-fi monster. It's your everyday average octopus.
Indeed, when you do look at it, octopi are very alien-like, and truly, if we discovered them on another planet, we'd view them as completely foreign. It's very interesting that we share an Earth with these animals. Now, going back to their ability to camouflage, I'm going to go a little bit more into what chromatophores do and how exactly they function. Because if you look at them, it's very difficult to comprehend immediately because, as a human, I don't have the ability to change patterns and make striking colors, across my skin. Neither do you, sadly. So the way that chromatophores function is by expanding and contracting and containing ink. And like pixelated ink sacs, they can stretch different colors and different patterns across the body on command. And that's fascinating. And in addition to chromatophores, they have a second layer of specialized microorgans known as iridophores, which bend light like a prism, bending light back to the eye of the viewer that is colored, and it creates this sort of glowing effect. It makes them look very interesting.
It's like the Pink Floyd album. Yeah.
In addition to this, octopi have leucophores, which are a third layer of microorgans resting underneath the iridophores, which reflect specifically white light back to the eye of the viewer, giving them almost a heavenly glow. And this is occasionally captured on camera, and when it is, it truly makes them look otherworldly and ethereal almost. Now, as mentioned before, octopuses have a decentralized nervous system with approximately 500 million neurons, which is just an incredible amount, 2/3 of which are located in their arms. And each of these arms of theirs has 10,000 chemical and mechanical sensors. And for comparison, the entire hand has just 17,000. An octopus arm is basically a tongue, a finger, and a brain all fused into one organ.
Like, imagine if humans had that. That would be useful, but it would probably, like, really hurt.
That is true. I imagine it would have a lot more nerve endings, which would make it more prone to pain and sensitivity. That would get rather bothersome after a certain point.
Yep. And, as we mentioned, they're pretty unique animals. Another superpower that they have is that they can edit their own RNA on the fly. Cold water? Nah. They can just tweak it to warm themselves up. They tweak nerve proteins to stay sharp. And, they don't need winter coats. Now, all octopuses have beaks and ink sacs. Beaks used to crush prey like clams, crustaceans, and much more. As we mentioned earlier, the ink sac releases through its anus and a specialized funnel organ when it is threatened. So, they're pretty much pooping out the ink. It is apparently mucousy and contains melanin, the same pigment used in your skin and your hair. Not only is the ink used like a flashbang to scare predators, it is commonly used in pens and dyes, as everyone knows. There's also a delicious spaghetti dish that uses squid ink called spaghetti al nero di sepia, which translates to spaghetti with cuttlefish ink. And I'm sorry to Italians if I butchered that, but yeah. Traditionally, cuttlefish ink is used, but squid and octopus ink can also be used. It's black and apparently savory with a slight aroma of the ocean. I personally have never tried it, but it seems really cool.
That sounds extraordinary. I wonder if it's able to stain your teeth, because I know that it's used as a pigment. So I wonder if after consuming it, your teeth are temporarily stained black. That would be very interesting to do an experiment and try out.
I think it does do that. I feel so stupid bringing this up, but in the anime JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Joseph Joestar goes to Italy to meet Caesar Zeppeli to train his Hamon, and he eats the spaghetti and it stains his mouth and teeth. And he's looks like he has black lipstick.
Oh, well, that's a beautiful example of how octopi and cephalopods in general are featured in media.
Exactly. JoJo's Peak, go watch it or read it.
Skylar, would you like to lead us into their hunting mechanisms?
Sure. In terms of hunting, crustaceans are 80% of their diet. Some drill in the shells, inject paralyzing saliva, then suck out the meat like a milkshake. Others impersonate rocks to ambush crabs. I also suck out the meat of crustaceans whenever I eat them. Really good. Put them in butter. Delicious. And they do autotomy when they just cut off their own limbs and regenerate them later. And coconut armor. Specific octopuses, such as veined octopuses, wear coconut halves as portable bunkers.
So like a portable bomb shelter. That would be mightily useful. If I were a human, I could carry my shelter with me. That would be lovely. Now, despite their ability to carry these portable bunkers, their mortality rate is just 99% before adulthood. And that means that if you are born as an octopus fry, which is the name for a baby octopus, you are very, very unlikely to reach adulthood. And some of the most common and prolific predators are sharks, eels, and seals.
Sharks, eels, and seals.
That does rhyme. Now, that is essentially why octopus mothers lay about 50,000 eggs and then leave, because it is a game of numbers. If you do not have more than a certain amount of children, there is a chance that your bloodline will die off, especially since many octopus species only lay one clutch in their entire lifetime, meaning they only have one litter of octopus fry. And still, despite their short lives of just 1 to 5 years, they reshape the ecosystems that they call home. They control crab populations as well as other pests and prevent coral reefs from becoming underwater deserts. And I think that's just extraordinary.
So, the taxonomy of octopuses is the boring part. They belong to the phylum mollusc, and they're the cousins of snails. And they belong to the class of cephalopoda and the order of Octopoda. Octopoda is your classic octopus. It has 200 plus species ranging from Anatrophis dolphini, I probably butchered that, but it's a giant Pacific octopus, and to the deadly Hapaloclina, and I also butchered that, but it's also the blue-ringed octopus. Argonautidae is another family, which we'll have a separate episode on, and the females build paper-thin shells to float mid-ocean, and the males are literally tiny sperm rockets. I'm serious. Their name also relates to a group of heroes in the Greek mythos, where the Argonauts sailed with Jason to find the Golden Fleece. Sirena, I think that's how you pronounce it, are deep sillies with fins and eternal skeletons. They don't have any social structures and no colonies. Their family is more like a shrub than a tree.
That is a lovely, lovely little metaphor. Now, unfortunately, that brings us to the end of today's episode. We hope that you enjoyed today's installment of the Marine Enthusiast podcast, and make sure to subscribe for more intriguing episodes such as these. Don't forget to connect with us on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at Marine Enthusiasts. With that being said, this has been the Marine Enthusiast podcast. Goodbye, Marine Enthusiasts.
Bye.